Hey guys, Anne-Marie here with another organization video. So usually what I do in these is I'll talk a little, I'll pop in and out, but for the most part my idea with these is that if you're working on an organization project of your own, we can work on it together. This can kind of be on in the background. I don't know if you're anything like me, but sometimes if I'm not motivated to clean, I need to pull up a video on YouTube of somebody else cleaning. And then I don't know if it's the camaraderie, just to know that somebody else is suffering like I am at this moment or what, but it just helps me sometimes to get those types of projects going. So that's my hope for you here, is that this can be going on in the background, and we're just kind of cheering each other on as we tackle some different organizational projects. So today is my 12 by 12 cardstock, and also really my basic color of pattern paper too. I store primarily by theme, or I organize by theme, because that's how I scrap. But I do frequently supplement by color. And sometimes, some things don't have a theme. So I'll just be looking for a color to go with. And so what I'm doing today is going through my 12 by 12 cropper hopper vertical paper storage holders, and making sure that like colors are with like colors. Because when I built my counterfeit kit last month, well, 2 months ago by the time this is posted, when I built that, it was woefully unorganized. Everything was everywhere. And so this was definitely needing to be done. We moved a couple years ago, and my scrapping organizational systems just never did fully recover. So I have put it off long enough. So I'm just going through all of my paper and pulling out any of the obvious themed items. If some stuff has a predominant color like this, I feel like that orange right there is more of the strong color there. I'm going to move that mini kit, that little collection of papers that all go together, to my orange pattern paper storage. All right, so I have a couple notes or announcements to make too. My first one is very small, and it's just a housekeeping item. If you've noticed, my videos tend to jump around sometimes, and that's a unfortunate thing that my phone does with autofocus. And I cannot find a way to permanently turn it off, or else I would. So I have to turn it off every single time that I record, and I'm just not in the habit yet of turning that off. So there will be parts of this video that don't jump around, and then there will be other parts of this video that do jump around as my phone decides it needs to focus differently in the moment. And then since I speed up the videos, it makes it look and feel jumpy. So I apologize for that. I'm working on it. It will get better over time. The second little note or announcement is that you've probably already noticed, if you even are worried about this sort of thing, I was doing videos very regularly on Friday afternoons at 1 o'clock. That's when I would post. And then in the past, like the last month, my uploads weren't exactly at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but I was still making it every Friday. But I've just come to realize that, I'm not into doing this for any sort of ad revenue reason, or any sort of following type reason. I'm not interested in like teaching classes or having a Patreon following or being on design teams or any of that. This is my hobby, and it's fun, and I absolutely intend to keep it that way. And it was causing me a lot of stress to do some things like uploading at a very specific time, and worrying. I was worrying a lot about my thumbnails and just silly little things like that really aren't worth that time and effort I was spending on them, when it just doesn't align with my goals. My goal is just that I like to share. I always have. I started scrapbooking in 2004, and I was on a message board, and I had my own website, and it was sporadic because that's what I wanted it to be. I always felt like it was too much work to to post regularly and to be on design teams and work for free for companies, and it just never was a thing that appealed to me. So it still isn't. Like, that hasn't changed nearly 20 years later. So I, for now, have tabled my website and my blog, and I'm really just going to post videos when I feel like it going forward. I do still have my scrappy Instagram. It's VexAngel13, if you do want to check that out. But again, I post sporadically because I'm just a hobbyist, and that's all I ever intend to be. So I just wanted to like formally announce it in a video, so that, you know, I've been saying, oh, I'll see you next week at the end, and I may not. I know some people that really bothers. They really like content creators that have a very regular schedule, and I absolutely understand that. But, you know, if you are subscribed, then cool. I'll show up in your feed when I do post. If you click the post notifications bell, that will also like specifically let you know that I've uploaded a video. But that's really, you know, completely up to you and how you want to utilize your YouTube video time. And I completely understand. So anyway, moving ahead. I've pretty much forged through most of the white cardstock and multicolored white background paper. And so now I'm tackling the creams and the browns, or in this case, I feel like that's a gray. So I'm going to pull it out and put it into the grays. And I'm just going to keep chipping away at this stuff. You'll see me come across some cut apart sheets, and I'll chop them up because why are they in my stash if they're only a cut apart sheet and I don't like the other side? They should be chopped up and in my cut apart stash. You might see some very some very theme specific items come through, and again, I'll pull those out because I'm going to put them in the theme. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that pops up that I should talk about now, but I don't think there is. So, oh yes, there is one thing. There is an incredibly ugly piece of paper later on. It's breathtaking in its ugliness, and I will draw your attention to it then. But for now, I'm going to shut up and just let some music play. All right, enjoy. Oh, and I forgot, there is a couple of these paper pads that are multicolored, and I just leave them together because they are gradients and they have multiple colors, so they don't easily break down into a category. However, I'm going to come back to that Simple Stories pad at the end, and I have thoughts. I'm going to share thoughts on that as well. So I came across a lot of these die cut pieces of paper. I actually was given these by one of my peep friends at the end of a peep crop. There's a whole bunch of them, and you'll see a few of them resurface in a cleanup embellishments video that should be coming fairly soon, because all the bits and pieces are recorded. I just have to edit and post. But why these are in my paper, I'm not entirely sure. I just didn't put them away properly. I just kept everything together. So I'm pulling them out, and like those snow titles will go in my winter. And I ended up storing the big background pieces just by their predominant color. So they're mostly white. There's a couple black and gray that you'll see later too. Okay guys, here it is. Look at that. I dare you to explain to me in the comments about why that paper is not the ugliest paper ever created. I really want to know, because it really is ugly. And I don't believe it's subjective. I believe it is objectively ugly. Alright, so I am still technically frozen, but I am also allowing myself to buy organizational items when I really need them. And so I needed some more tab dividers. I had tried a few homemade methods, and they just weren't working. So I went ahead and went with these Storage Studio dividers. So I just separated them out by basic colors. I do my 6 rainbow and then the 3 neutrals. White, black, and brown. And then I store my cardstock first, so the solid color of that. And then behind it is pattern paper in that predominant color. And that's how I divide it up and store them. right, this paper pad, it was by Simple Stories, and when I purchased it, I really thought I was getting a cardstock weight pack of just wood grains and colored wood grains. That is legit what I thought I was buying. I thought there was only 24 sheets. I thought they were cardstock weight. I can't remember if I thought they were double-sided or single-sided, but what I got was a 180 sheet pad with thin, very, 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 very thin paper. And sure, it had some cool things like these painted backgrounds, but frankly, when the paper is that thin, and there's so many of them in that very specific way, it's kind of pointless and useless to me. So I kept, I think, 2 of each of the painted backgrounds just for the sake of having them in the very, very long shot case that I wanted them. And I did go ahead and keep the rest of the basic patterns. Thin papers are great for layering. So I will use them, but I'm still mad at the very poor quality of this product. They could have made a much better product with slightly thicker paper and just given us 3 sheets of the patterns. That would have been fine. But paper was ripping as I pulled it out. And sure, you may not all decide that you want to tear apart a paper pad when you get it. I know some people keep them together, but you are eventually going to tear the paper out of the paper pad, and it probably shouldn't like rip straight down the middle when you do that. And just it was so thin, and also the colors were not very saturated at all. I don't know if you can tell, but they have a very chalky finish to them. Like in real life, the colors, oh, see, look at that, I just murdered that. And I actually have like a decent chance of using a navy wood grain background. So that was frustrating. Anyway, they kind of have this like hazy finish to them, where it's just not a pure saturated color. And a lot of the colors, they don't even match. Like you're going through and it's just random colors with random colors. I can't wrap my head around what the manufacturing process was for this, because they're not in order by color. They're not in order by pattern. There's some patterns that happen and then different patterns happen and then the same pattern comes back. Like I can't understand how this was supposed to be organized or anything. So yeah, this whole paper pad just annoyed me. The good news is my kids got a lot more paper for their craft stash, because I ended up giving, I don't know, probably half this pad, I feel like, to them, because I just couldn't justify having so many sheets of each pattern, even though they are basics. But I knew that the quality was so poor and the color saturation was so poor, I'm not likely to use it all. then my phone battery died right around here. So I did finish filing away the rest of that pattern paper pad, and that was it for my cardstock reorganization project. So thanks so much for hanging out with me and for watching, and I will see you sometime with a new video. Probably the next one will be the cleanup embellishments. So see you then. Bye.